Ted Morton follows a simple philosophy: love your family, work hard, and at the end of a long day, be thankful home waits for you as warm and welcoming as when you left it. Ted's life takes root in Tampa. On his father's side, he is the first generation born on American soil to parents from the Cayman Islands. The travels of Ted Morton begin when he eloped at the age of 18 with his high school sweetheart, Pauline. The honeymoon ended with a 3-year tour in the Navy during World War II. First son Eddie was born in 1946. A few years later, Ted Morton, a Nabisco cookie salesman, landed in Sarasota thanks to a transfer. Leaving Tampa proved difficult with weekend trips north on 41 or by way of ferry across the bay, a regular part of the family routine. By now, a set of twins, Denny and Kenny, had joined the clan. It became a challenge that shaped Ted Morton's life. Ted turned down a promotion with Nabisco that would have sent the family to Jacksonville. As a result, he accepted a job from Eddie Maribel to be the assistant manager and grocery buyer at Maribel's Market on Osprey Avenue. Eventually, Eddie and Ethel Maribel decided to retire and offered Ted the opportunity to purchase the market from the Maribel family in 1969. The Maribels and Mortons had already become business partners in 1959 in another food store known as Simple Sam's on the corner of Osprey Avenue and Siesta Drive. Morton's didn't become Morton's until 1977, when plans to remodel the store sign hit a snag thanks to a city zoning decision that suddenly made the sign's size illegal. Morton's was officially born. In the decades to come, Morton remained at the center of Sarasota's oldest shopping district. Its owner defined the store's place in the community with his own personality. Ted Morton always remembers a face. He hired many of the young people in Sarasota during his 45 years in the market. It was very gratifying to Ted by the way most of them turned out to be upstanding citizens and business professionals. It seemed as if he worked 8 days a week and 28 hours a day, while serving on numerous community, church, and social boards, besides keeping involved in local politics to make sure Sarasota remained a great place to live and a good place to conduct your business. But Ted Morton's most cherished accomplishment? His 3 children, 2 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. At the center of every decision he made from high school to age 79, Ted Morton put family first, a way of life that has served him and Sarasota well.
He ran truly the last independent grocery store in Sarasota, and everybody always felt sorry for Ted because you know how grocery stores are. They work on small profit margins, and Ted only worked on 2%. Buy things for 50 cents and sell it for $1. So we knew Ted never was making any money, and so we'd come there and buy our turkeys and barbecue, and when I was in public office, I'd get a call from Ted, and Ted, it'd be about 11:30 in the morning, Ted'd say, "Hey, Carrie, what are you doing for lunch? How about come on over and get a barbecue sandwich? Let me buy you a sandwich." So I'd stop by and see Ted, and when I get there, there'd be about 15, 20 guys up in the basket room with some issue that they wanted to deal with. But, you know, to Ted's credit, it was a community issue, and it was always fun working with Ted.
Well, he's been very active in the community. He still is, even after he's retired. Actually, some of the early meetings that ultimately, or was the genesis of Argus, was in Ted Morton's office on the 2nd floor at the old Morton's. And we just didn't have a name for it yet. And it wasn't much, and those meetings were held down there whenever somebody had a major problem with the city or the county, we'd get together and see if there's any way that the problems could be resolved. And also we had meetings there when determine who we would vote for or support in various elections in the county and the city. But that was a long time ago. It's a lot different now. Sarasota County is probably 3 times as large as it was in the 70s.
Everybody in the family is special to Ted. I mean, there's Kenny, and Kenny loves baseball, and boy, I'll tell you what, Kenny was the biggest baseball fan, and Ted was always at Ed Smith with Kenny, and in Chicago in the sports committee, and then there was always Eddie. You know, he sort of trusted Eddie in running the grocery store. Problem is, Eddie'd stay out sometimes a little late at night, And Ted had come in the store and was looking for Eddie, and he usually found him in the cooler after a bad night. Eddie was trying to get his senses back so he could go out and work the store. And then, of course, there's DK, and DK, well, DK's DK. What can I say? I mean, he's the life of the store and still is. In fact, I told DK the other day if he doesn't get a haircut, he better get something over his hair before the health department closes him down. But it's a great family, and certainly can't forget Pauline. Pauline kept them all straight. So the Mortons are truly a classic family in Sarasota.
When Ted was at Maribel's, nobody thought about running for any political office unless they went by and talked to Ted. And if they got Ted's permission, they would run. If they said, no, you shouldn't run, they didn't run. And so this just shows the people's thoughts about Ted, that they respected his opinion and took it. And he really did have a lot to do with politics in this town behind the scenes.
Well, I think he's given a lot to the community as an individual. He's been involved in the community and a lot of the decisions in both the city and the county in years gone by. And it's good to honor the older people in town. He's one.
Well, I think it's very well deserved. I've known Ted. I know what he's done for this community. I know what he's done for his family and for his business, and I just think it's a wonderful honor, and he certainly deserves it. He has made Sarasota a better place to live. He's been president of the Mount Kiwanis Club. He's been in the Chamber of Commerce. He's been very active at the Episcopal Church. He just name anything, and Ted's a part of it. And that's the reason we have such a great community today. Is one of the reasons is Ted Morton.
Ted Morton, I think, has been selfless as far as the way he's felt about this community. I think Ted Morton would put this community far above his own personal well-being. He's always been concerned about the community, and in fact, my favorite story was even his competition. He was always an upboard man, helped the Jenkins actually get their building built for Publix on Bee Ridge Road, and that's the type of thing he was. People of the community, even competitors, the Cheney store, they were friends. Joe Snow of GNS Market. You know, it was a special time in Sarasota, and Ted's contribution to the community was part of the business group that really concerned itself for what happened in town from a community point of view, not just a self-centered point of view, was always admirable, and hopefully we'll come back to a day when people reward that and cherish it as the reason that Sarasota is a great place it is today.
Well, I want to say good evening, Ted. There's just so much of you, Ted. No, I'm sorry. Let me get off the medical part. There's just so much about you, Ted, that we don't have enough time tonight or the days to come to say all that you've done for the good of Sarasota. I've known you for some 40 years now, and there's no better friend any person could have. I would call you, Ted, an icon for humanity, because all of your life you have devoted yourself to helping others, no matter who they are, what their need is. They may come to you and cry on your shoulder at the store. They may get you out on the street somewhere, but when they have a problem, Ted, you're always there to help them. You also like to have a lot of fun. I remember about 30 years ago when you were gaining some weight, and everybody was saying to you, the family, you know, so forth, Ted, you got to lose some weight. Well, you didn't like that idea, but one day you finally came into the office, and you agreed to go on a diet. So what we did was set up a program, and you would get him in for a base weight. Then each week thereafter he would weigh, and then 4 weeks later I would see you and we'd discuss it. Well, 4 weeks later you came in, and my goodness, the chart said you lost 20 pounds. But Ted, we looked all over. We couldn't find out where that weight had gone. You hadn't changed a bit. We checked the scales, they were right, but Ted, you finally gave in. And for your friends tonight, here's what you had done. On that first weigh-in, you filled each of your 4 pockets with a 5-pound weight that you brought over from your store. Each week you took out a weight. So in 4 weeks you had lost 20 pounds. Ted, you fooled us in, but you're not going to fool us again. We love you. Your friends here tonight are here to honor you, and God bless you for many more years and continue the wonderful service you've done for so long.
Well, actually my wife spent more time with him because she was a customer at Marable's Market, which eventually became Morton's Market. I knew Ted through several different organizations, including the Gulf Coast Kiwanis Club, and in particular the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce. Ted was very active in both of those organizations. In fact, Ted was, he was what you would call a working member of those organizations. He did a little bit of everything. I should give some credit to his wife Pauline for her part that she played in the operation of the store. She was Ted's right arm and good assistant. But Ted has been a leader in the community over the years, and he is certainly well deserving of this award. In fact, I would consider Ted as a candidate to be Mr. Sarasota. He has done so much for the community. Ted operated the store in such a friendly manner that a lot of the old-time residents of the community were attracted. He took particular care of all of his customers, but I know that many of the wives, for example, in shopping at Morton's Market, I think my wife included, would intentionally omit a couple of items from their shopping list so that they could come back the next day or the day after to do more shopping. And Ted was a good merchant, and he encouraged that. And on the male side of the equation, I think Ted went out of his way. He knew a lot of men were uncomfortable shopping, and he would more or less materialize out of thin air to assist you if you were observed walking down the aisle and appeared somewhat lost and didn't know where to go.
He has done so many things for other people. He's worked behind the scenes politically and just helping people. He's always a resource if you need to talk about something. Ted's always got a suggestion or perhaps an answer. I can recall one thing a number of years ago. Ken Thompson was our city manager, and so I'd gone by Ted's store and we were talking. I said, Ted, I've got a slight problem with the city and I'm not sure how to approach Ken on it. So I told Ted what the answer, or what the question was, or the issue. And so we talked about it. So he said, well, why don't you go on down and talk to Ken? He'll probably try to work with him. And so several days later, I called Ken, went over to City Hall and explained my situation and told him that I had talked with Ted about it, and Ted suggested I come down, Ken, and talk with you. And so we kicked it around 20 or 30 minutes, and he said, well, you know, buddy, I just have to think about it. I'm not yet sure what I want to do. And I said, Ken, call Ted. He knows what you should do. And so that brought a big laugh from Ken, and sure enough, later on, a few weeks later, he called me and said, this is what we will do. And so I thanked him. So whether or not Ted intervened, I don't know, but he certainly suggested I go see Ken. One of the great things that Ted did during the years at the store, he hired these high school kids to work afternoons and Saturdays, and my son was one of them that worked for Ted several years. And Ted taught them discipline, he taught them to be courteous, he taught them to be good citizens, he taught them to be, you know, great citizens, and to be cordial to people, be polite to people. Gosh, I could sit here all afternoon and tell you good things about Ted. Also, going back years ago, he was so instrumental in getting and keeping the White Sox here in baseball spring training. He and Ed Smith just were always out at the ball games working. And those two gentlemen really put Sarasota on the map for attendance and supporting Major League Baseball in the spring.
Hi, Ted. Remember me? I'm John Chidsey. I started working for you in 1975 at the age of 13. I ended up working for you for about 7 or 8 years, from the time it was Marable's Market until it was Morton's Market. And you thought I'd be a delivery boy probably for the rest of my life. But because of everything you taught me and everything I learned there, I ended up being the chairman and CEO of Avis Rent-A-Car and Budget Rent-A-Car, and now serving as the president of Burger King. And a lot of my success I owe to you and everything you taught me. But mostly I want to say congratulations for what you're being honored for tonight, for everything you've done for Sarasota, for the community, and for the business world there. But mostly I want to say thanks for everything you taught me about how to deal with people. You have a certain zest for life in a certain way with people that's unique. And if I learned anything from you, I hope it's that, and I hope I carry that with me forever. Congratulations again, Ted.
Hi, Ted. It's Chuck Floyd, Executive Vice President for Hyatt Hotels Corporation, but formerly part of the Morton's Bag Boy gang in the late 70s. I've got fond memories of Morton's Market, and still after almost 30 years, it's still one of my all-time favorite jobs. Do want to set the record straight, though. It really wasn't me that broke that plate glass window or started that fire in the back storage room. I think that was Sheb or Savory or Arnold or Cooper, maybe Farrell, but definitely wasn't me. Anyway, thanks to you, Ted. You taught us all how to keep a job and the responsibilities of a job, and I'm eternally grateful. Congratulations to you for being recognized the Argus Foundation Statesman of the Year.
I think it's great that Ted gets this award. He deserves it. He's worked hard for this community, and Argus too.